Warming is a huge impact. It's linear and existential, which means that the affirmative is the biggest internal link to be able to solve the biggest impact of the debate. Fiat solves the cost argument, which is 1NC1 3D printing. It also solves the launch requirements because it decreases the cost by a lot. 2050 is only about unilateral and only about...
It says that made in space, quote unquote, can only print in polyethylene, which is a plastic. Even if printing with other materials in space is possible, where does Kane say that these can be made in space / have been tested under conditions of microgravity?
So I get like you're super smart and you're a lot smarter than me, but this is like where the utopia stuff comes in. You should suspend these like tiny solvency deficits and have faith in scientists
so how are we
who are a lot
supposed
smarter
to
than I am.
this affirmative when you can just fiat out of everything with hope? Okay. Is it cool?
Yeah. It also transfers because it polarizes the psyche into either absolute fatalism or absolute skepticism, which only increases climate denial or increases the feeling that space.
Warming outweighs all their impacts. It gets worse over time in its universal wall, as well as describes a litany of impacts. It exacerbates conflict and instability. The energy imperialism argument from the critique is conceded and it turns case arguments to all of the three, quote, offensive arguments that they make on the case page. It turns, even if they're winning a full risk of their climate apocalypticism stuff, it does not matter, because even if individuals are less likely to respond to climate change, you still evaluate the fiated implications of the affirmative because they conceded the framework arguments on the critique, which means that we still get full weight of space-based solar power being implicated in the status quo. If we win a solvency argument for SPSP being able to reduce emissions or increase economic growth to solve adaptation, which resolves the issues of warming, it outweighs the impact. It outweighs the impact of people being less likely to respond to the crisis of warming. There is no terminal impact of people being less likely to respond to the crisis of warming anyway, and we're winning a huge turns case argument to the imperialism argument because it's all predicated off the energy dominance that occurs in the status quo because people don't have access to unconditionally free energy and they only have to use fossil fuel, which makes them more imperialist in the future because they're more likely to securitize those resources from other nations, which means that providing the unconditionally free energy is necessary even if we make people more passive in the future. The next offensive argument